Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do another quick video today, and what I'm going to talk to you guys about is that sometimes you're going to have to go back to the crime scene, the scene of the crime, the key moment in your life that has made you into the person that you are today. What do I mean by that? Guys, we go through things, sometimes our behavior, the things that we do, the way that we deal with people, the way that we deal with things that come into our lives, the things that we struggle with. It's a seed that was planted at some point in our life. How was a seed planted? It could have been through trauma. It could have been through rejection. Could be a variety of different things that brought this thing about in your life. And so you have to go back to the crime scene and think in your head the moments. If you're a person that you're an angry person, you are a violent person, you have to allow in your quiet time, as scary and as much as you may not want to. Some of you have shut the doors on certain things in your life. You say, I never want to go back there. But I'm here to tell you that even though you're saved and even though you're filled with the Spirit of the Lord, you find yourself in certain things. If you still find yourself in certain situations and patterns and things that are destructive and in ways that you are not victorious, sometimes, guys, you have to go back to the scene of the crime. You've got to allow the Lord to show you. Go to that place with Him. Even if you're afraid to go there, know that He's holding your hand, and let Him take you back to that place in your life and show you that moment that changed you forever. That moment that even though you're saved right now, it still changed you forever. Listen, it's something that the Lord did with me during my healing process. I went through this whole, I call it a overhaul in 2018, late 2018, mid to late 2018, bring me through into 2019. And God had to show me some things. I'm thinking I'm going to the Lord for one thing, and He opens my eyes and shows me, here, let me take you and show you this moment. What made you become this violent person? You may have to go to that key moment in your life when something occurred that caused you. When did you start hitting? When did you start acting out at school? What was the situation that caused you to do that? What happened at that moment? When you became promiscuous and you start sleeping around, you got to go back in your head and think about that moment maybe where you were raped, that moment that you were sexually assaulted, that moment that you found the porn, and what you felt at that moment. You understand your introduction to it. If you are a person that you lie a lot, you have to think of the moment that, when did you start lying? Did you lie from fear? Did you lie because you didn't want to be rejected at school, so you started lying about where you lived and what you wore, and then you find yourself just being able to lie all the time? The moment that you decide, I'm gonna be a dog, I'm not, all women are this way, was it a result of how you were treated by your mother, or what you saw happen to your mother by the hands of your father? So all these things are the crime scene. And you know what? I used to watch a lot of The First 48, and you know, the crime scene happens and the detectives are there, and you know what they do? They case the area, right? They have to canvass the area, and they go and they talk to different people, and hey, what happened? And based on what they do, and until they finally find that key witness, right? But a lot of times what happened, that person, they saw it, they knew what happened, and that person comes in down to the station, and they always asking for a cigarette when they get ready to tell it. But listen, they come down to the detectives and they tell the detective what they know. That key witness that was there, that knew something, tell the detective. And guess what? When they tell the detectives, law enforcement, go ahead and do their thing and bring in the culprit, right? Bring in the offender and bring them to justice. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to go casing and canvassing the area to see what anybody knows, because there's somebody, the chief detective, Jesus Christ, that knows what's happened. But in order for Him to set you free, you have to be the one that has to go with Him to the crime scene, to that thing that happened to you. Acknowledge it, remember it, take that pain, bring it up, cry, and let Him be the one. See, you're the key witness. You're able to say, this happened to me, and you give it to the Lord Jesus and allow him to bring those demonic influences and strongholds and the things that has kept you captive for so long that you can't be the father that you should be. You can't be the mother you should be. You can't be in relationships like you could be. You don't trust the Lord. You understand? Because you don't trust the people that you can see. So how you going to trust what you don't see? This thing that separates you from him and also separates you from other people. You are the key witness that needs to see it, relive it, knowing he's with you. Show him, tell him what happened, speak to God, know that he's real. And what he will do, he will bring those culprits to justice, okay? Sometimes it's going to be people that physically hurt you, but I'm going to tell you, your battle is not against flesh and blood. It's against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. So what he does is when you go back to that place and you say, God, this is it, and you cry out to God, he will deliver you and he will tell those spirits, those things that's kept you hurt and kept you in bondage, they gotta go, because he's gonna say, okay, go in the name of Jesus, flee. They're gonna be asking, oh Lord, shall we run into the pigs or whatever? Maybe. But guys, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You gotta go back to the scene of the crime. You know, there's people who they're gay and they're lesbian. And I always say this, a lot of times, they were raped. Someone took them when they were so young and helpless. Some grown man who himself is lost. Take a little boy and stick your stuff in the behind of a child and force him and rape him and do all kinds of things to him that he don't even know what's going on. And that same person, even though it was a horrific experience, he turns around and he becomes gay. And he thinks, this is who I am. And that's fine, because what happens, it makes sense, because there's a transfer of a demonic spirit that was made at the time of his assault, trauma. And now he's blinded and he said, this is who I am. But the truth is, if he goes back to the crime scene, he didn't like it. He hated it. He was terrified. It was happening. He was helpless. Maybe no one believed him. And yet he's become that because it's a stronghold and it's a spirit that you now become the thing you despised when it happened. Women, you turn gay. Sometimes someone assaulted you. Someone raped you, okay, as a little girl and misused you. Maybe a man did, and you decided, I want women. Trauma. Or you didn't like it when a woman was doing this to you, doing cunnilingus, going down there, licking you and doing these things that you don't even understand, but yet you feel disgusted because your body is reacting to it and you don't want it. And so you become gay, but you didn't like that moment when it happened. How? Because it's a stronghold. It's a spirit. I'm not here to knock you. I can't make nobody change. But I'm telling you, if you go back to the crime scene and see yourself and what was happening, you didn't want it. It was strange. And sometimes you may say, I was born this way. I can't, because somewhere down the line, if you check, somebody was practicing that, and it comes down the generations. You see, the thing about the spirit of darkness, they're not just okay with that one person. They start looking at your kids, your family. We want them too. And then it becomes introduced to you if you never had that. But the girl that was introduced to sex and sold for sex and all these things, and her mother did these things to her, or she was abused by her stepfather, they become that. Why? It's a door that was opened up. It's a spirit. The same thing with that man who's violent. He saw his father beating his mother. Some people, they'll say, I'll never be that, and they get set free from it, and they say they don't become abusers, but the memories in their head, they shut it away because they don't want to remember the screams. They don't want to remember their mother. They don't remember what happened, but it's still there and it's still blocking you, where you're saying, I'm going to be the perfect man or woman. I'm not going to be this person. And even though that's good, you got to know the difference between when you're trying to avoid something, and it's actually still, it's a noose around your neck because you're like, I don't want to be like him. And so everything you do is like, I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like my mother. When in fact, you're not realizing you hate them, or you have something against them because of what they've done. Guys, you have to go back to the scene of the crime. I've had to do it. there's healing in it. And allow the Lord to deliver you. Allow you to bring those strongholds and those things to justice and under your feet so you can be free to do his work. Guys, don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. I hope this makes sense. Have a wonderful rest of your day.